All right. Are these on? Is this working? Why is there music?
Oh, it's the band?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we should just stand up.
Not quite.
All inclusive here, you know. Bring it all.
Okay. Is that better or is that more feedback? Do you guys still have music going on or no? That's just outside? Huh. I think you have music. Yeah, that's you. That's them, but there's two things happening at once. Okay. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is out there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public comment will occur during the public comment portions of the meeting and will be done via raising your hand remotely or in person. During public comment, once acknowledged, please state your name and ward so that it can be included in the minutes. And please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment is governed by policy BEDH. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, we are removing 8B off the agenda. That will be moved to October meeting. Also moving 10A off the agenda, the corresponding policy, which will be moved to the October agenda.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment? There is none in the room. Is there any online?
If you wish to speak in public comment, please raise your hand. There is no public comment online.
Okay, we will close public comment for now. We will turn to it at the end of the meeting. Correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
There was none.
Thank you. All right, we need a motion to approve the public meeting minutes from September 11th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 11th, 2024.
Okay, can I get a second? Motion by MJ, second by Mary. Thank you. Are there any changes or corrections to the public minutes? None? Okay, great. All right, all those in favor? Okay, vote is unanimous. Oh, sorry. All those in, just a moment, please. All those in favor again? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so 8 in favor and MJ is abstaining. All right, we need a motion for the non-public minutes from September 11th.
Make a motion to approve the non-public minutes from September 11th, 2024.
Okay, motion by MJ. Can I get a second? Second by Mary. Any changes to those by anybody? No? All right, we are going to, sorry, one moment, please. Okay, we're going to go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Okay, any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. Vote is unanimous. All right, that brings us to our student report, which we are not having today. So we're going to our leadership update.
Sure. Thank you. I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who visited the newly renovated spaces at the high school and Hanover Street Elementary this evening. We are thrilled with the outcome and appreciate the ongoing support from the residents of Lebanon. It has certainly been a very busy week across the district, and I want to acknowledge our team for working hard to ensure smooth operations despite having 2 open administrative assistant positions at the district office. As we enter the budget season, we are prioritizing projects and focusing on working as efficiently as possible. This means some non-essential requests may take a little longer than usual, but I will keep you informed through future communications. We are also in the process of updating our board docs platform to Diligent Communities. I'll be working with Lil to develop an implementation plan for committee chairs and secretaries so we can move that forward. Lastly, this week we met with the City of Lebanon to discuss some upcoming road construction. They are anticipating construction in West Lebanon to begin in the spring on South Main Street by the bridge, where at times they'll be down to one lane on that bridge. And then another project starting late summer, early fall, which will take down Main Street down there, where they'll be working on sidewalks and a roundabout towards White River Junction. So we will collaborate with the city to communicate any disruptions to traffic in our bus routes. We did have transportation at the meeting. We will use some back roads to get around to Mount Leb, but anytime when you're going down to one lane roads, we do anticipate there will be some delays with the buses. So we will make sure that is communicated as we learn more. So I want to thank everyone for your continued support, and that concludes my update. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Amy? Okay. We are going to be having a non-meeting with our legal counsel as soon as they arrive, and so they probably are going to arrive around 6:45, I believe. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to skip 9A for right now, discussion of board goals, and go into the second reading of the policies under 9.
So I'll make a motion to adopt the policies listed on our agenda for September 25th. Items 9B through, I don't have my glasses, so I'm not completely
B
unable to see, but
through,
Do we do the withdrawals too?
that's, yes.
so B through R.
Yeah, okay. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Wendy, seconded by Tia. Does anyone have anything else to say on these policies after their second reading? No? Okay, all those in favor?
So adopt or withdraw as noted
Adopt
on
or
the
withdraw. The motion will be adopt or withdraw as indicated. All those in favor, sorry. Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? No? All right, vote is unanimous. Thank you.
9S is the reviewed policy report. In November of 2023, this board gave authority to the policy committee to review policies. They do need to come to the board, which will have a system to do so. So you do have a thick stack of policies that the policy committee has reviewed since November of 2023 through September 9th of 2024. So we are looking for a motion for you guys to approve the report and the following policies.
So I'll make a motion to approve the report from the policy committee of reviewed policies.
Okay, motion by Wendy. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Tia. Any questions, comments on this from the rest of the board?
Amy, can we just make sure that we date the report?
Yes.
Just so we have it.
And, clarification, so when we go through and have these updated on board docs, we will put today's date?
I think that's
It's the date the board officially
Yep, okay,
approves them.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you to Policy Committee again for their ongoing efforts to keep this.
So the way that this will, as we go forward, we'll get a report from the ones that we've reviewed. If anybody on the board would like to have more discussion about that policy, that is an opportunity for the board to say, hey, I did see something that I would like revised or a change or something like that. So that is the opportunity to pull that out and have further discussion.
And that's why this is a big giant list, is because we hadn't been doing that thus far, but
Correct.
we will now be doing that. But this gives everybody a chance to know which ones.
And so if we're marking it as reviewed, the version that is in our current policy online is basically going to stand.
Okay.
Sometimes we mark things as reviewed after we've made non-substantial changes, like
That's what this is.
grammar issues.
Right. And it's in keeping with the policy that we're going to do first reading of tonight about
BGAA.
Yeah, BGAA, right, okay.
I mean, I think it already is in
Yeah.
our version of BGAA.
Yeah, it is. So any other comments from anyone? Okay, so the motion is to accept these policies as reviewed and/or slightly amended by Policy Committee. All those in favor? Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? No, our vote is unanimous. All right. Wow, we're ripping through this. Okay. That brings us to, well, let's go on to the other policies and see how many we can get through
Sounds great.
on 10 new business. All right?
Hopefully it will be easy.
Right, we'll see.
So I'll make a motion to move policies listed under new business 10B through G
Yes.
for a second reading. I'll second.
And do we still do second readings of the ones we withdraw, or do we?
We
should
move
do
them to the second reading. I mean,
Okay,
just-
separately. Okay, so motion by Wendy, second by Tia. Does anybody have anything in these policies that they want to, any of these policies that they want to pull out or ask a question about? Yes?
I only have two questions. My first question on JLD, always something that comes up. Do we want to refer to guidance counselor or school counselor throughout? I know the school counselors will probably say school counselor, so I just raised that. And then policy EEAB, transportation for sports at the middle school has always been historically a hot topic. And I don't know if we want to include something in the policy or not. Generally, my understanding has been if there's space on the buses to get the girls soccer players to Civic, for example, or the boys soccer players to Eldridge, we do it. But I don't think the policy really makes it clear that we're even open to that. And so I don't know if we want to include that or if we just want to leave it alone.
We have a separate sport transportation policy.
So those are not our sports, and that's why I bring it up.
Okay, that's good. You're right, because they're, yes.
So I think if we put it in if your thought is to say, if we can, we like to do that, I think that's also probably information that can go into a handbook
Yeah, I agree.
under a transportation section. Is there a transportation section in our handbooks?
Well, yes, there are several, so.
So maybe we just make a note of that in there versus, because that way, if something changes with it, we're not having to come back to the policy to change it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, and we'll talk about it in policy, because you'll be on the EC when we talk about that. Okay, that's good. Does anybody else have any other, yes, Jessica?
On policy FBB enrollment projections,
Yes.
I just had some questions, maybe clarifications requested. It was a little bit unclear to me what it says. Enrollment projections will be prepared on a 5-year basis under the direction of the superintendent and will be reviewed annually. I wasn't sure if that meant that they will be reviewed in the sense of redone annually or looked at annually or re-projected annually. So I was unclear on that. I think also it's also unclear to me who will do them. It says under the direction of the superintendent, but it is a fairly specialized form of projecting, particularly given that even this accounts for review of forthcoming changes in town planning and zoning, review of current and planned community land development and housing. Those are fairly complicated things to project. So while the final statement says the board may authorize IHBAA studies made of population trends and school enrollment whenever construction of new school facilities or closing of school buildings is being contemplated, I think we don't want to limit it just to that. I'm not sure we want to say that's the only time that we can authorize outside studies. I think probably we want the ability to do that whenever the superintendent or the board feels that it's a good idea, since it's a moderately complicated thing to do. So I like the policy. I think it's a good idea to have it in there, but I think clarifying how frequently it will be updated, whether we are implicitly authorizing funding for it to be updated by an outside party or et cetera. Those were things that I felt like should be clarified.
Good points. Is it the intent that we make 5-year enrollment projections on an annual basis?
That was one of my questions.
Well, and are we talking about enrollment projections? I mean, I know that it says review of forthcoming, like the 3 and 4, but we also, every budget season, we have projections that go out 4 or 5 years.
Correct.
So is our intention with this more of like that process, or are we talking about like an enrollment study?
I believe it's the intention of what you said in the beginning, is making sure that we are looking at enrollment out 4 or 5 years on an annual basis. But I think that bottom piece is, do we want to include language in there of that the board can authorize enrollment studies at any time? So maybe some more clarification. I mean, we could send this one back to policy to kind of
I think it's,
craft, or do you want to
I mean, I think-
workshop it here? Or
I think it would be easy enough to say, to add to that last sentence, whenever construction of new school facilities or the closing of any school building is being contemplated or at any other time that they deem necessary, the board may authorize, I mean, that's sort of or any other time deemed necessary by the board and/or the superintendent, either one.
And that clarifies studies versus projections.
Yes,
I
right.
think.
But going back, I mean, so,
I mean,
You could just get rid of the first sentence.
yeah, I mean, I
The
guess,
board may
I think
authorize
that's the
outside
thing.
studies made of population trends and school enrollment.
Right, because I think that's the thing, is that like
Yep.
it doesn't, we obviously can do that, it's just like anytime we want, but it's just
That's a much
clarifying that that's
easier-
a thing we should
that's a much
probably
easier
look at.
edit. That's good.
I guess the only thing that I was actually hoping that the intention for the policy was to actually suggest that the board authorize outside studies of enrollment projections on some regular basis. Because I think that that's something that, for example, I think probably should have done more recently than 2016. We haven't, but at least we're planning to do it now. I think setting a regular cadence for that to be looked at made sense to me, but I think if we don't feel that's necessary, that's fine, but reminding ourselves and reminding future selves of other people that that's a thing seemed like a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. How expensive is it, and do we want to write it in stone?
Right.
That we need to take that out of the budget every so many years? That would be my
should we
wonder.
include in that we should be reviewing it every 5, like at least a statement that we're reviewing the option to that?
Yeah.
So it's on that cycle, so that, hey, we haven't done an enrollment study in this time, like
Let's
as budget.
discuss
No,
it.
let's
Should we be-
note that we didn't.
Right, so should we be, like, every 5
Yeah.
years, like, 2029, should we be looking at it again?
Yeah, because I think while it's an expense for sure, it's a much cheaper way to spot kind of upcoming needs than not spotting them because nobody's looking. So
Right.
it's,
Yes, that is a good, Richard, do you have a quick way to indicate that?
Not off the top of my head, I was still working on the first sentence, which would probably just say, 5-year enrollment projections will be prepared annually under the direction of the superintendent.
5-year enrollment, okay.
Will be considered?
Will be, prepared,
That's the budget.
Okay, 5-year, yeah.
Yeah,
on an annual basis.
be prepared annually on an annual basis.
Under the direction of the superintendent. And
Well, the
then-
5 year is going to be done annually because we do it as part of our budget process. So, and also maybe the title of the policy then should be enrollment projections / dash
Enrollment projections
studies.
and
and studies. Yeah.
To make it very clear, they're different things.
Yeah,
Okay, I like that.
and it can be, will be prepared annually during the budget, during the budget presentations or
Okay.
whatever, during budget
During
season,
The budget cycle. Okay.
or as
so-
part of the budget cycle.
All right, so we have got to, we were moving
think
so
about it.
quickly, and we were
Vote
doing
on
so
it.
well, but now we have to stop. So we're
No,
gonna come,
we should continue this, though, because there's a motion on the table.
I know, so that's what I'm saying, we have to, either we have to
Oh.
take the motion because we have it, there's other questions, or we have to, so I think we should.
Continue the motion?
Continue the motion, yes. Can we do
Can we
that,
do
or
that?
just rescind the motion? What do you have to do?
I don't want to rescind it.
Yes, let's continue it. So
Okay.
we're gonna continue the motion until we come back from our non-meeting, but before we do that, we're going to go back to our student report because she's here. So we will, Thank you, Nora.
Hi, sorry, I apologize for being late. I got mixed up on the location, but I'm here now. So most of you know me already from last year, but I'm Nora Burns. I'm a senior this year at LHS, and I am the student representative. So what's happening this week and next week for LHS is homecoming dance is on Saturday. Everyone is very excited. The council closet is open again, so it's for those of you who don't know, it's where students and staff, they can donate, and just the local community, donate different clothing items for kids who might need those items for these type of events. Yeah. And then Spirit Week is next week, as well as the pep rally. And then the bonfire is on the 4th, and the homecoming games is on the 5th. So please come and support us, our athletes. And then school-related, the student common area has been thriving. There have been many students all the time during study halls, lunch, just to hang out in the morning. It's been great. And I've had a lot of students come up to me and tell me how much they appreciate it, having a place to go. And then lastly, the Diversity Club at LHS is promoting National Hispanic Heritage Month by starting off each week with information about Hispanic community and the culture.
Great, thanks. Does anybody have any
Thank you.
questions for Nora? Welcome back. We're glad you're
Thank
here
you.
again. Appreciate it.
Good to be back. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we are going to go into a non-meeting in the Hanover Street School Library, and we will return soon. She says
No pressure, Jim.
optimistically. We are back. So we are in the middle, let me move this, sorry.
Drafting FBB.
We're in the middle of drafting FBB. We're so close. Okay, so what we have so far, and just correct me if I'm wrong, we have enrollment, projections, and studies as the new title. The first sentence would say, 5-year enrollment projections will be prepared annually under the direction of the superintendent during the budget cycle. Yes? The rest of those bullets are fine. The last sentence will say, the board may authorize outside may authorize outside studies made of population trends and school enrollment. Period.
Yep.
Is it worthwhile at the very beginning of the document defining enrollment projections for the purposes of this document as internal projections and studies as external?
Okay,
Is it worth
so
doing
you don't
that?
think we need to do that, but we can just add those words. So we can say 5-year internal enrollment projections, we'll just add that to the first sentence. And at the end, outside external studies, or just external studies.
Yeah, we'll get rid of outside.
I would say externally generated and internally generated, just because I think
yeah.
internal projections doesn't.
That's fair.
Generated and internally, I'm going to give you all this language, Amy, don't worry. She's looking at me like, what? Okay, that makes sense? Everybody on board with that one?
Yes.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions about any of the other policies? I have a couple. The first one is on JLDBB.
Which we're not doing tonight.
Oh, that's right, we skipped it, just kidding. I forgot about that. JLD. And this is the school guidance and counseling program. My question is, the bullet, second to the last bullet, a summary report of student performance and achievement, attendance, and behavior shall be provided to the board at least once a year, addressing the effectiveness of the school counseling program. Do we do this? I don't ever remember having seen one of these, so before we make it policy, I just want to ask, do we want to, do we
I
do?
think this came up in the meeting. Amy?
Yes.
Second to the last
Amy's comment, I think, during our meeting was when we asked that kind of question. It says, more data provided through this policy will help the district and board to make decisions around student needs, RE counseling, social.
So we will do it going forward then. That's great. That was just my question.
And I can't remember what the difference is between because this version that we have here is more of the New Hampshire School Board Association language. And so I'm not remembering off the top of my head exactly what ours looked like, but I think we felt like the New Hampshire version was more robust.
That's fine.
And we wanted to adhere to that language.
I just wanted to make sure, since it's not been our current practice, that we are going to do it now that it becomes policy.
Absolutely. Would that be done at the full board level or committee? Education committee?
That's a good question. I mean, if it's only happening once a year, I think it'd probably be helpful for it to be looped into some other full board presentation. So we're talking about achievement,
Yep,
student
like
performance.
the
go
end
into
of the
CI.
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And my other question, one moment, please. Oh, no. EEAB, under C1D, so on the second page 2. I'll just show it to you. Thank you. Right here. So this is talking about emergency situation transportation changes.
Yep.
Right, by the principal or their designee. So at this point, people are still, I want to make sure we check on this, see if this is our current practice, because I think people are still calling the transportation coordinator to do changes, even if they're one-day changes sometimes, because she alerts the bus driver. So I just think we need to make sure that that's what our actual practice is. And then I think that was my only big questions. The rest of them are just grammar. So much grammar. Yep, that's it. Anything else? Okay, so I think we are back to the motion. Do you want to remind us of the motion?
So a motion to move the following policies under new business 10B through G for a second reading with and the quick modification would be with the revisions talked about specifically to FBB.
Okay, and we seconded by Tia, I believe. All right?
Yeah.
I think it was. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, no opposed, it's unanimous.
And then I'll make a motion to have policies under new business 10H and I go for a second reading to be withdrawn.
Okay, motion by Wendy.
Second.
Oh, second by Richard. Okay, we're gonna switch it up.
Public
Second.
record.
Second by Richard. Any comment on that for anyone? No? Okay, all those in favor? All right, also unanimous. Okay, thank you. All right, so that gets us back on our agenda of your. Okay, so we are returning to unfinished business 9A, which is the discussion and action of the board goals. So you all have seen the goals before. We have talked about them. This is just after we had all of our discussions, this is the final sort of language that no one got back to me about any particular changes they wanted to this language. So we just need to formally approve these, unless there's additional discussion on them. So first, can I get a motion?
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion? I make a motion. I can make a
You
motion.
can.
I'll make a motion to accept the board goals as written and included in our packet.
Okay, thank you.
Can we put a date on this?
Yes, we can.
So,
So, I mean, it's actually from last month, but that's from 8/24, but we'll put a date on it for, okay? Can I get a second? Second by MJ. All right, discussion. Any discussion anyone wants to talk about?
Wendy, is this one we should bring up what we discussed in F&F, or should we do it after?
so I think this is the time that we talked about doing that.
Okay. So, one of the goals of the district here is develop, refine the CIP, paying particular attention to options for the SAU building. The F&F, Finance and Facilities Committee had a meeting on Monday, and one of the, we've got a CIP year one that's been discussed, that's been looked at. John and Tim have done great work on it, and we're, I think, ready to move that through. But one of the things that came up is the SAU building and how that's dealt with in the CIP. And the challenge, I think, that has come up is we kind of need more information in order to include and in order to look at the SAU in the context of the CIP, we need to understand what the options are for the SAU, which currently we really can't because we don't have a good understanding of the deed, sort of what the options are. And so we would like the board to authorize the superintendent to contract with a real estate attorney to investigate that and determine our options.
Okay.
So that was the suggestion or recommendation from the Finance and Facilities Committee, was that the board authorize that.
Are we also constrained by the RSA about unused school district
Yeah.
buildings?
We could
would
be,
be.
we are,
Would be.
yes,
Okay.
right. Right now it's used, so no.
Okay.
But
if
depending,
we tried to sell it, it would have to go to.
Yes. So
Right.
this,
Did not
this-
have to go to, just a first right of
So
refusal.
this would be part of trying to understand a whole bunch of the
Yeah.
issues around what our options are going forward, because it's very difficult for us to work on the CIP for the SAU without some concrete information.
so I would say that's a good idea. I think in addition to, and probably before a real estate attorney, we would actually need to have a historical transcription. The deed, I've read the deed, it's extremely difficult to understand, and no real estate attorney now would be able to disentangle it. I think it would have to
But I
be
think
like,
they are probably very well positioned to know who to go to
Right.
for
So
that transcription.
There's
So I think
some
it's-
sort of that. But I also think that because this isn't I would say, well, what do the rest of you think while I think about this? But
Or we can finish our thing, because we're in the middle of a motion for that, and then, so vote on our goals thing, and then come back and make a,
Make a separate motion.
okay, that's fine. Let's do that. Let's hold on to that, and then talk about, are there any other comments on the goals themselves while we're talking about that motion? No? Okay, great. So all those in favor of supporting the motion to adopt these goals from August 2024? So moved. Okay, unanimous, excellent. Okay, great, thank you.
Going back to the
Yes, we're back to it now.
the D.
Shall I make a motion so that we can then discuss it?
Yeah, let's make a motion
Okay.
and then we'll see what we.
I move that the board authorize the superintendent to hire a real estate attorney to evaluate the options for the SAU moving forward.
Does that make sense?
Does that
Is that-
cover what we're looking for?
or engage, I might use.
Engage.
Engage, yeah, a real estate attorney.
If
Okay.
there's like another person that the real estate agent suggests that we need to, is that encompassed in that vote?
Right.
And then I don't have any idea what the cost would be.
Right, so do we want to have it, yeah. Or where the funds come from. So so my question is, do we need to ascertain what that is? Sort of a ballpark of talking to.
Maybe, so we just start with a quote and then.
Right, so
Yeah.
that we're not just
Project, and like, 'cause it may be
authorizing
That person's like, hey, I'm gonna need to talk with, someone at this, for that piece, so we can put together,
So
I guess, a proposal for that?
yeah. Because I think that would be more useful, because I don't want to have an open-ended motion or an open-ended thing. I also think, though, that we probably want to think about the timing, because we are in,
I was just gonna say.
yeah, go ahead.
That for the timing for us, is this a priority number one that goes just as much as budget building and everything that we're doing? Or can this be done in January, after we get through that piece? As I said before, we're on limited staff at the district office.
And aren't you about to lose another person? Isn't someone going out on maternity?
The assistant business administrator will be out from
middle of
November
budget
to
season.
February, so, on FMLA.
Okay, which is great. Yay, we love that. But it just means that we have, yes, I think that was going to be my question was, we need to talk about timing as well, because this isn't something that's factoring in to, as far as I know, factoring into current budget discussion, because we don't know enough to talk about it. And in current budget discussions, we should be talking about it, but because we're on limited staff and we're in the midst of budgeting, that maybe we say that this is something that
I don't think
happens
it
after
plays into year one of the CIP, so I think that's fine, as
Okay.
long as we don't sort of
Lose track of it.
Lose
Yeah.
track of it.
Right.
I think that's fine.
Okay, so then we're saying at some point in January,
Yeah.
you're going to be giving us that information, and then we can go back to.
I mean, I'll
make a
reach out to the
motion.
attorneys now. but
Exactly, right. We don't-
You know how that
it's not
goes with them.
urgent.
Should I just withdraw the
Yes.
motion?
No,
No,
since we're-
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's setting the intention of the board that we want this to be looked at, and, I mean,
We've set the expectations for timing, that's fine.
yeah.
But then do we,
I don't know that we need a motion for that, though.
yeah, I don't think we need a
I mean, like,
motion.
if we're not authorizing money, if we're just looking
Right,
for a
we'll provide an
proposal,
update.
then I don't
as
know
the
that we
information
need.
comes, and then if we're
Because
ready
I don't
to.
think we can vote on it, because we don't have the information that we need to make a
Right.
what
I
do you
mean,
call it?
I would love, I mean, like,
An informed
I'd be
vote.
fine to authorize money now, but I think that, like, if that's not what we're doing, if we're gonna get a proposal first, then I'm not sure what the need for a motion would be.
It's up to you, it's your motion, so you can.
I know, but I'm sort of looking at my co-committee members, because I think we had discussed a couple of different options for how to move forward with,
So I guess I'm unclear what you're actually asking Amy to go get a proposal on from
Well,
the real estate attorney.
I think just to start to engage, what the Finance and Facilities Committee was feeling like is that we need to start taking some steps towards understanding whether we have an asset that we cannot really do anything about. So if that's true, then we need to put money into that building and figure out how that fits into sort of other priorities in the district. Or is there some cost benefit and things like long-term planning? Is it better to think about renting space, leasing space?
And so you want the attorney because of the deed, to make sure there's no restrictions.
It's just a step one in probably a, 42-step process, but
And I think there was an understanding it had to be used for educational purposes, so if that is the case, we need to know that, and how do we, if we can, how do we
Like,
unwind it?
Is it sellable?
Right.
And I think
And what-
all previous discussions that I have participated in FNF back when we were doing it, it seemed there was a lot of like, well, the deed says this, but then when you actually look at the deed, it is unclear that anyone
Correct.
even knows what the deed says.
correct.
So
We need, step one needs to be like unravel
Understand
what
the deed.
is possible, potentially.
To that end, my wife and I are both trained in historical paleography, so I wonder if I could take a look at it.
That would be, you can talk to
Do
Amy,
we
that's
do
a
we have
great idea.
scans of it?
Yeah, I think we actually they sent them
Yes,
to us.
We have,
I
we
would
have
love to
scans
take a
of
look at
it.
scans.
I'll
Yeah.
send them to you, sure.
Great. Yeah, okay.
You are such a helpful board
A
member.
bag of weird skills. Okay, but sometimes they come in handy. I mean, it's not going to be an insular minuscule. It's going to be
No,
in
no.
something like
Yeah.
more recent.
So
Who knows what it says?
so we're saying that our expectation of an Amy to go out and do before, say, the next meeting or two is to find out how a potential
No.
attorney and how much they would cost?
No, I
Because-
think
I'm
we're
actually
saying-
gonna send it to Richard, and he's gonna do what he can, and then from there, like, with some, if we have guidance from there, I'll send it to Drummond, who has a real estate option, and then,
But we're not saying it's immediate.
yeah, and what the proposal would be, like,
In-
as an option for
Next
building.
year, beginning of next
Yeah.
year, we would start looking at that a little bit more aggressively as part of the CIP.
Okay, but I guess it goes back to my thing. I mean, we started off making a proposal of engaging a real estate attorney. But then we all got a little squirrely because it was open-ended. But now it seems like if we go back and we start talking to Drummond, I mean, again, that's gonna be a billable expense. And so without Tim being here, I'm a little uncomfortable even saying, go talk to the attorney, knowing that we're gonna start being incurring charges, and do we have the
I don't
extra money?
think it's
to
not
incur?
it's not a billable charge to ask Jim for the name of a real estate attorney. That's
Well,
not
it didn't
something.
sound like that's what we were doing, though. It
Well,
sounded
No,
like
I think
it
that
was-
is,
costs, like, I mean-
I think getting an understanding, like, they're not gonna charge us to get an understanding of like what the hourly rate is, what it might look like. If they are, then that's,
I think
something
it's
we
part
should-
of their scope, just to
Y-
say,
yeah, like,
this is
that's-
what we could do, we
yeah.
have these
Okay,
people
but
in
it seems
our.
like we just went full circle on multiple things, and that's why I'm getting confused, because then we were starting to go down that road and asking Jim and getting stuff, and it sounds like, to me, that no matter what we do, we're gonna start being generating.
I think there will be some
Well, I mean, I
small
think
cost, but I
So-
think it's
so if
important
we
for us
say-
to know what our asset is. If we don't know
Right.
if we have this asset and we're gonna
So-
own this,
so
we
do
know
we
we're
say-
gonna have to then start.
Put a $1,000 limit in, if
Yeah,
it looks
I mean-
like it's gonna be more than that, then.
I don't think, but the truth is, we don't do that now. We don't say like, Amy, we don't authorize every hour that Amy does
But that's
billing
a-
with our lawyer. Like, that's not how we do it, and I don't want to start that now.
But Amy only does budgeted things with the lawyer. We have a school board budget with the lawyer. She has a personnel budget with the lawyer that's agreed to in the budget process. This is now something that was never agreed to in the
But
budget
don't-
process
but
of
don't-
an exploration.
But don't we also have board fees, board budget with the lawyer? Like, there's a budgeted amount of money.
Yeah, but
Right,
we don't know
most of
how
it's
Tim is using those.
Right, most
Right.
of it's being used for negotiations.
Right.
this year.
Okay,
So
fair.
again, I'm
I'd-
comfortable, and I understand the intent, and I support the intent. I just feel like, without knowing what the pot of money is, that we have to go, because once you get down that road, you're gonna start
Okay,
incurring.
so what if we do this? What if we hold off on a motion? What if you discuss with Tim what he's comfortable with us doing, what he wants from us?
Okay.
And then, because that's a small little question, and then come back to us, and then we
The
can.
next meeting, sure.
And maybe in the meantime, when you're having a negotiation and Jim is there, you can
You
say,
ask him a question.
I already sort of.
hey, by the way,
sprinkled-
what is this gonna take? Like, what?
I've already sort of did that, and if it,
billable 15-minute increments, so when I'm at 12 minutes, I always take extra 3 minutes.
Oh,
Any
that's
questions?
So smart. Okay, good. Does that make everyone, does everyone feel good about that? Yes, yes, okay,
So
great.
I withdraw the
Thank you.
motion.
Appreciate it.
No.
Take it back. Okay, so that moves us back to, where are we? We are on new business, we're done with new business, we're on to committee updates. What? Okay.
Did you say that we have another non-public?
We're going to at the very end. We're going to let these be done. So, Finance and Facilities Committee, you just met. Is there any additional update?
I can say that John and Tim have been working on the CIP. We have a year one, which we looked at and discussed, and that will, I believe, essentially form the basis of what we see in the budget coming forward. And yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great.
And also we had a meeting with the Hanover Street School PTO representative came and talked to us about how we should navigate potential playground things, and we came up with a sort of a process where as long as John, the facilities director, and the principal of the school are kind of in agreement, and Tim signs off that most things that don't involve large expenditures of money do not need to come before the board, that's that.
Great. And your next meeting is October 28th at 4:30 p.m. at the SAU. Policy Committee, your next meeting is on October 7th at 8:15 a.m. at the SAU. EC, the next meeting is October 7th also at 4:15 p.m. at the SAU. PNN, you met, we've already talked about that, on September 17th. Your next meeting is Tuesday, October 1st at 4:30 p.m. at the SAU. SWAC, their next meeting is October 4th at 3:30 p.m. at the SAU. HACTC is coming up on October 1st at 11:45 a.m. at HACTC. Area Committee, our next meeting is October 15th at Plainfield at 6 p.m. The School District City Task Force, next meeting is October 24th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And the housing people met, correct?
Yeah, the Housing Task Force met today
Okay.
and had our initial kind of get-to-know-you meeting, and kind of went through the process of scheduling our meetings and so forth and so on. So we'll be meeting once a month, and yeah.
Do you know when your next meeting is?
I wrote
Would
it
you
down.
like me to
I
help
wrote
you?
it down.
I have it in my phone.
It's okay if you don't. I just thought since you're here.
Yeah, it's going to be on October 21st,
Okay, thank you.
but going forward, it will be on the second Monday. It's
Second
just,
Monday
it's a
of the month.
holiday.
Sure. Okay, great, thank you. Let's see, we will reopen for public comment. There is no public comment in the room. Is there any public comment online?
There's no public comment online.
All right, we will close public comment again. Future agenda items, board member recommendations or questions? Are there any? No? Okay. We are, just FYI, we are going to have a short non-public at the end of this, well, before the end of this meeting, the last thing on this agenda, we'll have a quick one for an update. But you guys will be done. You don't have to come back. So, important dates and district announcements. The next school board meeting is Wednesday, October 9th at 6:30 p.m. And the annual budget meeting is November 23rd at 8 a.m. at the LMS cafeteria. Is there any other business? Have you all, Tia and Richard, have you all registered for the NHSBA? Great, thank you. Any other business or questions that people have? No? Okay, so we are going to go into non-public back in the library. We need to make an motion, please.
Make a motion to go into non-public under New Hampshire RSA 91A32C.
Okay, and can I get a second?
Second?
Motion by MJ, second by Richard. We need a roll call vote. Kevin?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
MJ?
Yes.
I'm a yes. John?
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Tia?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll head back to the library.